over the middle, and that's incomplete.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication between him and his receiver there. Receiver didn't really have his head turned. That was Nick Andrews trying to receive that one and just wasn't ready for the ball there.
So Hoffman, who had only attempted 6 passes on the first 2 drives, you can throw him an empty set here to start drive number 3 for Averett. Perhaps knowing what the time is and what they've been able to do ineffectively moving the ball, 18 plays for 43 yards, perhaps trying to give a different look. Instead, he'll go to Shaheem Watlington on a handoff, and that's only 2 more yards, and a flag will fly. Flag gets in there late.
Flag might be on the tackle there.
We'll see what the referee has to say here.
It's like some confusion, nobody really knows.
And so after it's all said and done, it's going to be against the Generals. And it's a face mask on the tackle, so a 15-yard pickup at the end of the play for Averett, and that quickly moves them all the way out to their own 31.
Yeah, that backed up field position not seeming to matter now as after that penalty, and give them a little more room and a better chance to drive this ball down the field and try to get some points before the half.
Hoffman looking over the middle, broken up. Steve Chicana got his hands in there defensively for Washington and Lee. Intended to target Nick Andrews.
Yeah, good effort there by Chicana, just able to get his hands up and not really let that throw get in there. Hoffman still opting for these short passes, hasn't really launched one downfield yet. As we said earlier, the one pass downfield was almost picked, so that might be looming in his mind.
2nd and 10 from the 31 for Averett. 3:44 left before halftime. They trail by 2 scores. The pitch gets away. And Washington and Lee, they look to falling on it. And they do. So Chicana falls on the loose ball. And Washington and Lee comes away with the turnover.
Yeah, that pitch just was a little wayward, a little off target where the receiving man was expecting it, and nobody there to pick it up for Averett.
Just takes a fortunate bounce, and Chicana was in the right place, right time, just to land on it. So the Generals capitalize on the Averett miscue and now have 1st and 10 from the Cougars' 32.
A great starting field position. Already basically in field goal range. Plenty of time on the clock to put a touchdown on the board, though.
Ty Collins, the W&L offense, back on the field. Their best starting field position at the Averett 32. On 1st and 10, Romero gets the call, and he gets 6 yards on 1st down.
Yeah, the Generals will look to take off about as much of this clock that remains as they can when they have the ball, just to ensure that the Cougars offense doesn't get another chance, despite their struggles today.
Already rushed for 140 yards plus on the ground here in the first half. W&L has only attempted 3 passes, and Collins is a perfect 3 for 3. This one will run the option, flick it ahead for Garcia, and Garcia tackled right at the line of gain.
And that run game for the Generals today has really been by committee. Romero now just over 50 yards, but everybody else just decent gains. They have 5 rushers with over 10 yards already in the game, so just a very, very good job by committee for the Generals rush game.
And they will give him the 1st down. So 1st and 10 at the 22. Romero up the gut, and 3 yards on 1st down for Jacob Romero. We heard from Jacob Romero in the pregame. We will hear from senior Jalen Todd during halftime. So Romero kind of broke down the matchup for us and what the Generals have worked on during the bye week. Jalen Todd will hear all about the different things that number 40 for the blue and white, who leads the conference in tackles, what he's been doing here during his time at Washington. Lee will hear a little bit about his life outside of football and being from Louisville and what he's done over his 4 years. So stick around during halftime to hear from senior Jalen Todd as we've reached the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Washington Lee with a 14-0 lead over Averett, and the Generals are driving. It is 2nd and 6 from the 19-yard line of the Cougars, and so far today, Shane, the Generals 26 carries, 148 yards, just about 6 yards per carry on the ground.
Yeah, it's exactly the kind of bounce-back game this rushing attack could have hoped for. Really no struggles so far running the ball. Really no struggles so far at all offensively. Just the one punt today, but no issues moving the ball. They're able to drive down the field. Crawford with those 2 touchdowns, and as I said earlier, it's really been a good job by committee picking up all those yards.
So Crawford will come out and flank Collins here out of the shotgun, coming out of the 2-minute warning. Crawford behind Collins on 2nd and 6. Boyd in motion. Crawford pushing his way through. Anthony Crawford for extra yardage as he's finally brought down inside the 10.
Yeah, strong run from Crawford there, just dragging Cougars' bodies with him. Not going to be denied of that first down.
A player down for the Cougars, part of their defensive front, a little slow and shaken up after that one. But Anthony Crawford, he's been the bruiser thus far for Washington and Lee, and that's part of his role. As a guy in short yardage, some goal lines. He's a good complement to Jacob Romero's quick burst of speed. Romero only 5'8", 195. Crawford 6'2", 215, but is really a powerful runner. And I think that 1-2 complement really work off each other quite well, and you're seeing it on display here this afternoon.
Yeah, teams always like to have their speed back and then their power guy because it really keeps the defense off guard, especially if they're on the field at the same time, which sometimes the Generals like to give that look. But Crawford doing a great job of just full steam ahead so far, and he has like those 2 touchdowns, as we said earlier, on the goal line. Such a powerful force for this Generals offense.
We'll stay in there. 1st and goal from the 9 for the Generals. Romero 8 carries, 57 yards. Crawford 6 carries, 39 yards here for the Generals. And it's the sophomore Crawford in there with Ty Collins. As it's 1st and goal from the Averett 9. Under 2 minutes left here in the first half with the Generals knocking on the door once again. Collins will check the call at the line. Generals in no hurry. Crawford will get another crack at it, and he'll find the end zone again. 3rd rushing touchdown of the day for Anthony Crawford. And the Generals lead it 20-0.
And just as we were saying, the power of Crawford put on display there. What a strong run. Able to take the hit, just keep pushing forward, and able to find his 3rd touchdown of the game. What a great job so far from Crawford.
Well, Michael Fernandez out for the point after, as Anthony Crawford's got his 3rd rushing touchdown of the first half. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is through. Washington Lee leads 21-0 over Averett with 1:19 left here in the first half.
Yeah, and just really complete opposite from that last game for the Generals. Just dominating the ball, dominating possession, able to have their run game pretty much go as at will. And for the Cougars, just really struggling on that defensive side of the ball to get stops, and offensively with that freshman quarterback in, just not the same looks that they normally get.
Crawford 7 carries, 48 yards, 3 touchdowns. Half his carries, Shane's, have ended up as touchdowns here thus far as Marcus Gafford gets ready to kick it off for the Generals. Averett will receive the second half kickoff because the Generals won the toss and elected to take the ball. They went right down the field and scored after almost a 9-minute drive to start the game. And since then, the offense has continued to pour it on. 3 rushing touchdowns for Anthony Crawford. The difference here for W&L. Gafford, a lower kick this time. That gets through the hands, and we'll have to play it because if he doesn't take a knee quick enough, the Generals could pick it up. But a little lackadaisical getting to that one was Jason Moran. He didn't catch it cleanly, but he knew he just needed to take a knee for a touchback. But he made that a little bit harder than it had to be.
Yeah, for Averett, that's not the kind of effort that you want to see out there. Just sort of stood around. I don't even think he realized he touched the ball and then got back and took the knee. But these kickoffs so far for Averett have been a little dicey.
So they'll get 1st and 10 from the 25. It's roughly been about the average starting field position for Averett, even off kickoffs, if they've only really gotten that out to the 25. So Brock Hoffman, who's 3 of 7 for 11 yards in his first collegiate start, has 4 wide here, perhaps just trying to look for some positive momentum before the first half ends. So go to the outside for Tavian Goffigan, who hauls it in for a 6-yard catch. Hoffman has tried to be very decisive with his quick throws here to start. It has at least paid off on the ones that he's been able to complete.
So far, the Generals have really limited him to those short passes, though.
This time, they'll try and look long, but he is tripped up right back at the line of scrimmage. Alex Verney, Mac Palmer, Will Knight all in there as they tripped up Hoffman right there, and a timeout called by the Generals. So Washington Lee will use their second timeout with a 3rd and 4 upcoming here for Averett. The chance to perhaps try and get the ball back before halftime.
Yeah, Generals really showing how they would feel about this game, trying to score again before halftime and really putting faith in their defense with this kind of timeout.
Averett so far 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions here today. Generals have had the ball for nearly 19 minutes of the first half. That is something they are more accustomed to doing. They only had it for about 23 minutes in their last game against Trinity, where their defense was on the field for a bulk of that game. They have flipped the script here today as the defense takes the field for a 3rd and 4. 4 receivers here, 2 to either side for Brock Hoffman. Soto, the running back, to his left. A 3rd and 4 for the Cougars. A pitch to Sean Watlington, and he has the ball knocked out of his hands, but it fumbles out of bounds, so it'll stay with Averett.
Yeah, those outside pitches so far for the Cougars, they had an earlier fumble on the previous drive, and then another fumble there, so a little bit of struggles so far. Luckily for that one to go out of bounds, because W&L would have been set up for primetime field position once again.
Should be 4th and about 1 from where that ball rolled out, and that's what it will be. Averett will keep the offense on the field.
Gutsy call here, because if you don't pick this up, the Generals have a very good chance of at least getting 3 more before the half.
And so Washington Lee using their final timeout, but a few seconds came off the clock, and Coach LaRose not happy, knowing if they were going to start the clock because the ball went out of bounds because of a fumble, he would have asked for his timeout to be right when the clock was supposed to restart. Instead, loses a couple of seconds. And so now just 29 seconds left.
See him down there arguing with the referee about that call, pleading his case, saying, I would have known. I would have had 15 extra seconds, but
instead, there will be 29 seconds left, and with a 4th and 1, Averett did originally have their offense on the field, but it looks now since that they have perhaps switched up to the punting unit. You don't really want to give the Generals this good of a field position, even though they have no timeouts left, but they're already inside your 35 if you don't complete this. And just like that, the punting unit is out.
Yeah, this is a smart decision for the Cougars. They get the ball to start the second half, so and be able to go into halftime, make some offensive adjustments, and not go in making another big mistake, potentially not picking up that fourth down.
So the Generals will keep the defense on the field, but Charlie Fleming comes off, so Wilson actually can be the punt returner deep for the Generals. Yakovlev with a wobbling punt that lands at the Generals' 35. Takes a bounce into the hands of Axley. He gets past one guy. He's going to try and cut it upfield across the 45 and tackle just shy of midfield. So a big return for Wilson. Axley at least brings it back out close to midfield for the Generals with 15 seconds left before halftime.
Yeah, given those Generals timeouts, you think they're going to try to be aggressive here and try to pick up about 15 to 20 to 25 yards to maybe get inside field goal range.
Washington and Lee will split 3 wide receivers out. 15 seconds left before halftime, working with a 21-0 lead. The Cougars do get the ball to start the second half. Collins has Romero go in motion. He'll roll out to his right. And there's going to be a hold on the play as he finds Evans on the far side. But Marcus Payne was all over Jarrell Williams coming off the edge.
Yeah, right in front of the head official, just really grabbing and tugging and not letting him break free to try to get after Collins there. That's an easy one for the refs.
That'll pick the Generals up another 10 yards, and at this point, perhaps just a kneel down or a run before the end of the half could take us to halftime. Coming up during the halftime break, we'll hear from senior linebacker Jalen Todd, all about, is what they call him, J. Todd on the football team. You'll hear all about him, what he's done over his 4 years here in Lexington, whether that's football and this other stuff around campus, and just a little bit more of a personal profile on one of the Generals' top players. Also have the first half stats, some highlights and more for you. Get you all the out-of-town scores as well. First day of ODAC play in Division III football. 10 seconds left before halftime. We'll just give to Romero as Jacob Romero gets it back out to the original line of scrimmage, and the first half will come to an end. So each team will make their way off the field as we have hit halftime. Washington and Lee behind 3 rushing touchdowns from Anthony Crawford leads 21-0 over Averett after 30 minutes.
Yeah, the Generals is a perfect start to ODAC play. This is exactly what they could have hoped for. Really no issues with their offense running the ball down the field. Really able to just beat that Cougar defense consistently and get some nice gains. And then on the flip side, when you look at that Cougars offense with their freshman quarterback making his first start, Hoffman just only 4 of 8 on the day for only 17 yards. The Generals have done a good job of keeping the passes in front of them and not letting those receivers beat them deep. And Cougars just really struggling right now to get anything going offensively or defensively.
Yeah, Washington had the ball for nearly 19 minutes. They ran 33 plays of offense for 208 yards. Averett, 24 plays of offense, 55 total yards. And so outside the opening drive, in which the Cougars moved it all the way down the field before turning it over on downs, not much really happening for the Averett offense. So it's been all Washington and Lee after 30 minutes. We'll hear from senior linebacker Jalen Todd here at halftime, get you the rest of the first half stats, and get you ready for the second half between Washington and Lee and Averett right here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Joined by Jalen Todd, one of the seniors on the Washington and Lee football team. Jalen, you're 3 games into your senior season. How do you feel like this season's gotten off to a start for you and for the team?
I think just, we've had our ups and downs so far. I think we've been challenged up to the start. We've been able to play Trinity, who I think we were projected to not be close at all, kind of be in a one-possession game and lose on the 5-yard line. I think that we culminated just in the past 3 games to be able to have our own definition of what our team is. I think we're real close to what we need to do this season, but we got to be able to start and finish in the right way.
During your time over the last, now 4 years here at W&L, what's been your favorite part of being a part of the football program?
Just the family that we have as a team. I think that, over the past 4 years, I've been able to build a relationship with these guys and have brothers that I know that will be my brothers for life, and have guys that I know that want to be at my wedding one day.
What are some of the other things you're involved in around campus, other things outside of football that you feel like you're spending your time doing here?
on campus?
Here on campus, I'm the president of the National Pennant Council, Intergreek Council for, fraternities and sororities and the Divine Nine organizations. I'm involved in different clubs around campus. I'm part of the Diversified Capital Group, which is an investment society for not strictly minority members on campus. I'm an intern for the Office of Inclusion and Engagement. I help co-facilitate FYE 100, which is the first year experience class. I do various other things. I just don't know what to say, what else I am right now.
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. That's not a bad thing. Coming from Louisville to Lexington, how have you grown here at Washington Lee, both as a student, as an athlete, and also kind of just as a person?
I think just by being able to come from the place I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky, and coming from a private school that's kind of similar to Washington Lee. I went to Kentucky Country Day High School. I think that coming here has kind of made me to learn about just different opportunities here. I was able to study abroad twice so far, which is something that I never thought I'd have the experience to do. I was able to study for 4 weeks in Greece and 4 weeks in France. And kind of now I'm actually applying to teach English in France for the Fulbright as an English teaching assistant. So I've been able to kind of learn that the career path that I want to do. I came here and wanted to be pre-med, and I realized that was not for me. And now I want to pursue a career in law. And just by being able to build all these connections and being able to learn from different alumni and having alumni wanting to mentor you, and even players on the team who are older than you, and seeing them do great things kind of pushes you to want to be the best person you can be in every way.
What study abroad experience is better, France or Greece?
I think that for the beauty of the country, I would say Greece, but just for the experience overall, I would say France, because I actually understood what people were saying to me instead of just trying to say a few words and stuff. But I really enjoyed both. I think I can't really judge which is better. I think they're better in different categories.
You just hit it on it just a little bit ago. Plans for graduation. You talked about coming in pre-med, kind of changing your track, some goals maybe from a professional side of things, and where you want to see yourself down the road in a couple of years.
In a couple of years, I eventually want to see myself in law school to pursue a career in law. Right now, like I said, I'm applying for the Fulbright English teaching assistantship in France, and whatever may come for me after graduation in Europe, whether that be teaching or maybe even playing football overseas is something, or coaching overseas is something that I kind of see myself doing before I go to law school.
All right, we have reached the rapid fire round here where I'm just going to throw out some questions. You do your best to try and answer as best as possible. We'll start simple. We'll start with, what's one thing you have to do before every game?
For one thing I have to do before every game, I have to walk the field.
Is there a particular order that you go, like, yard line to yard line, or you have to just walk around and just take it all in?
I have to walk around and take it all in. Maybe sometimes we'll throw the ball around, or, sometimes I even sit at the goalpost now. I started doing that at Trinity. I read a passage out of the Bible and then just kind of meditate and just talk to my teammates.
Best spot in town here in Lexington that you like to go to? It could be somewhere you like to go to eat, go shop, or just hang out.
I think the best spot overall in Lexington, I think it's called Flagpole. I know people that watch Tilling go. It's like a little overlook. Just seeing all the area at night. That's somewhere I like to go just to sit.
All right, since you're from Louisville, we got a Louisville question for you. Favorite Louisville athlete, which could be someone that is from Louisville or someone that played for the Cardinals?
Oh man, that's hard. I would say favorite Louisville athlete, probably Lamar. Obviously, it's Lamar Jackson or Donovan Mitchell. And favorite player from Louisville is Rajon Rondo, of course. He's the most decorated. Muhammad Ali. I have to say Muhammad Ali. Sorry about that. I have to say Muhammad Ali, but a current athlete of the recent past, I would say Rajon Rondo.
All right, you're making a flag football team full of your W&L teammates here. So 7-on-7, where they got to play both sides of the ball. You can include yourself. You can not include yourself. Who are you picking to field that team of 7 people?
Oh man, well, quarterback, I gotta say Todd. Let's say running back. Running back and wide receiver, I would say Marcus and Jacob, because Marcus can run and he can catch the ball, and he could play defense too a little bit. I would say, of course, I have to say somebody in the linebacker room. I would say any of the linebackers in the linebacker room. I'll take any of them on the team. So that's 4.
Yep. So you got 3 more spots.
I would say Charlie Fleming, because he can go up and catch the ball and he can play defense. 5. I would say Jack Johnson, because he'll be the hype man on the team. You'll always hear him. He may intimidate the opponents while you're out there. Who else would I say? Oh man.
One last spot.
Man, oh wow. I just throw it out there. I'll say Alex Verney.
Get some height on the team.
Get some height on the team. Have Alex Verney out there. You know, he used to play wide receiver back in high school. You know, now he's on the chop. He's a DN. You know, maybe he'll be able to get some deep balls or something on the team.
All right, last question I got for you. When you look back at your time at W&L, whether it's playing football or just in college, and reflecting on that experience, you know, a couple of years later, what do you want to remember most about your time here?
What I want to remember most about my time is, you know, I think what I would say is just, you know, the accomplishments that we were able to have in my class, specifically in football. You know, we won the ODAC our freshman year. We're hoping to do what we need to do, but that takes one game at a time, one snap at a time, 1 second at a time to have our goal of actually, you know, winning something for ourselves and not just riding off the backs of all the great seniors that we had, like Josh Brees. And we had Josh Brees, Alex Wirtz, we had Stephen Merritt on that team. You had so many different people on that team, like Dean Johnson, who was the leader on that defense, Andros. You know, actually being able to culminate something together as our own class and actually live up to, you know, the standard of what we were expected to be while we were here.
Well, Jalen, thanks for taking a few minutes today. Best of luck the rest of the season. It was great having you.
Thank you.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
Inclusion means making what we offer here at W&L accessible to the broadest possible swath of students that are out there.
W&L has a phenomenal financial aid program, which allows so many more students to come here.
I've been very fortunate to have access to W&L's financial aid system, and they definitely want to make sure that students have access to all kinds of opportunities, and the cost is not a barrier for, say, a spring term abroad.
Once you come, no matter your financial background, we are going to ensure that you have access to all of the opportunities that form the W&L educational experience.
The Johnson Scholarship is a scholarship for leadership and integrity. I am very grateful for all of the aid that it's given me to get to go to college for free, but also with the scholarship, we get a summer stipend.
W&L finds ways to support students, and that makes my job a lot easier to have students who are supported and feel like this is a place where they can succeed.
We ensure that they have funds and resources that allow them to take part in research, in internships, and all kinds of summer opportunities.
Being able to graduate debt-free is such a privilege.
It is life-changing if a student can graduate without loan debts.
You kind of have a fresh slate. You're not going into the world with debt that you need to worry about and all of that pressure on top of the normal post-graduation pressure.
Getting the opportunity to come to an amazing school like W&L and knowing that I will graduate and not have all this debt has completely changed my life. My parents still can't really believe it, and it's just, I love it so much, and I love W&L.
Batman or Superman? Oh, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to go with Batman on that one. He makes, a ton of money as well as just being an awesome vigilante, so I love Batman.
Gotta go Batman.
Why?
I mean, he's dangerous, I feel. I think Superman was a little bit too nice, but Batman could really cause some harm.
Batman for sure.
Why?
Super omnious, always staying in the dark, but doing good by the people.
Superman.
Why?
Just because not many people can stop him.
Batman, easy. I mean, we've seen the movies, so we see what happens. Let's go Superman. A lot of nostalgia there. We were a Superman family. So.
Batman, because he's a stud, and I also just watched The Dark Knight 2 nights ago. So,
gotta go Batman. No question. Probably Batman on that one.
Why?
He's just an everyday man that chose to be exceptional.
A lot of people have been saying Batman. I gotta go Superman. Really liked him growing up. Not a big superhero guy now, but always liked Superman growing up. So.
Is there a specific reason you chose Superman over Batman?
He was just like, I don't know, I just always, anytime I thought about a superhero, you think Superman. You don't really think Batman necessarily, so.
Batman. It's gotta be Batman. He's just cool. The fact that he's just a regular dude and does everything that he does is awesome.
I have to go with Batman. He's always getting what needs to get done, he always gets it done, so.
Batman or Superman?
Batman, 100%. He was just different. He's definitely different.
I'll go Batman on that one.
Definitely Batman. It'd be pretty sweet to drive in the Batmobile.
Batman, he's just better.
Batman for sure.
Gotta go Batman. He's one of the smartest out there and has a way to stop everyone. So,
I want to say Batman, but I like to be different than my teammates, so I'm gonna go Superman. Batman's just this preppy little guy who happens to have a bunch of cool gadgets, and Superman is farm boy who is an alien. I don't know how else to really support him other than that. But he's a cool dude.
Oh, for sure, Batman, no doubt. Because he's just a normal dude who's just super smart and just makes cool stuff.
Batman.
Batman.
Why?
Because he's a normal man that made things happen by himself.
Batman or Superman?
Batman, because he's a normal dude but just worked really hard and can I say that?
No.
Oh.
That's all right. We got that.
Oof, Batman, of course. Batman. I like that he doesn't really have a superpower, he's just rich.
This is a tough question. I love the attributes of Batman and being able to protect the city at night, but I've always grown up a Superman guy.
Definitely Batman. I think Batman's known for how he moves in silence, and that's how I like to live my life.
Well, Jack Leahy is not Batman, but the Washington Lee football team leads 21-0 here at halftime as part of Parents and Family Weekend as they kick off conference play against the Cougars of Averett University. Ron Connell, Shane Riley with you on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Time to break down some of the first half stats from tonight's game. The Generals 208 yards of total offense, with 177 of those coming on the ground. They are 2 for 5 on third down, and the only turnover in today's game is a fumble by the Cougars recovered by the Generals. Averett offensively, they've run 24 plays, but just for 55 yards of total offense. Their most effective moving of the ball has been on the ground, with 38 of their 55 yards coming on the ground, with 19 of them coming from the ODAC's leading rusher, Gabby Shoto, but 19 yards on 8 carries. So it's been a very inefficient offensive day for Averett, who will get the second half kickoff here to start the second half, but will also be trailing by 21.
Yeah, they're going to look to have some big adjustments on offense, as you said, in that first half, just really unable to get anything going. That first drive, they had a nice job moving the ball down the field pretty methodically, and then they were unable to pick up that fourth down, and then really since then just haven't had much going on. And on the flip side, as you said, for the Generals, just dominant running the ball offensively, defensively since that first drive, doing a great job of holding the Cougars to not much on through the air, really nothing on the ground as well.
Yeah, Washington Lee ran 33 plays compared to Averett's 24, but one of the other bigger things, time of possession. Washington Lee had the ball for 18 minutes and 40 seconds in the first half, as they lead 21-0 here at the break. Some individual statistical leaders here at halftime. Jacob Romero leading the way for the Washington Lee ground attack. 9 carries for 67 yards. Anthony Crawford, 7 carries, 48 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns, while Ty Collins is 4 for 4 for 31 yards through the air. 4 of those passes to 4 different receivers: Andrew Bland, Ian Evans, Marcus Payne, Josh Garcia, all with a catch. As for Brock Hoffman, the freshman quarterback from Chesapeake, Virginia, making his first collegiate start, went 4 for 8 for 17 yards in the first half. 2 of those passes complete to Trevor Testerman, one to Tavion Goffigan, and the other to Gabby Soto. But here in the second half, trailing by 21, you don't want to divvy up too much from your original game plan, but you also feel like you're going to have to take some chances down the field and see what Hoffman can do through the air here in the second half if you're Averett.
Yeah, he really only had 1 ball down the field, which was almost picked. So you got to think after that, Averett, we're going to try to give him some more easy passes, which they've done a good job of doing, but those passes really have not led to much offensively at all. They're going to have to try to spread it out, get the ball down the field to some of their receivers, and try to beat this W&L secondary, which has been very stingy so far this game, and it's done a good job of keeping the freshman quarterback at bay.
And a normal starter, Ethan Ross, not dressed for today's game for Averett, so Brock Hoffman, who had appeared in 2 games earlier this season for Averett, and a little bit of an extended action against Ferrum the last time out for the Cougars, drew the first start of his college career here against Washington and Lee. Averett will get the second half kickoff here as the Generals have a 21-0 advantage. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington Lee Sports Network. And Shane, for the Generals, you have to think much of the same, especially on offense. Continue to ground and pound the football and really work the time off the clock, meaning that you're up 3 scores.
Yeah, and that was something that they did not have any issue with in the first half. So you got to think that similar decisions, as you said, for them on offense and on defense, just keeping up the same work, limiting the Cougars' offense to really short gains and not really a lot of chances to get the ball down the field.
So Washington and Lee and Marcus Gafford will kick it off here for the Generals. Back deep to receive for Averett is number 0, Caden Jackson, as well as number 17, Nick Andrews.
Yeah, it looks like that lackluster effort at the end of that first half is leading to a switch for their kick returners, which is one of the first of many adjustments I suspect we'll see for Averett in this half.
Jason Moran had been returning kicks, but not had much efficiency on his kick returns thus far. Gafford with a booming kick, perhaps his best of the day. It's taken by Andrews at the 6-yard line. Andrews out to the 30, and that's where he is wrapped down. Connor Lehman in there on the tackle, but Nick Andrews giving Averett some good field position starting at their own 30.
I believe that's the best starting field position for them on the day, on a nice 24-yard-ish or so kickoff return. So nice little bit of momentum to build there for this Averett offense.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 31 officially here for the Cougars. As Brock Hoffman back out on the field for Averett. 4 of 8 in the first half for 17 yards. Averett limited just 55 yards of total offense. I'll try and put it on the ground here with Sean Leach. And he gets 4 yards on 1st and 10.
Yeah, it's interesting having Leach out there ahead of Soto. Just getting a different look, maybe getting a different guy out there. Soto not super effective, only averaging about 2.5 yards on his carries.
As you can see now, the sun really behind the press box here at Wilson Field, so much of the field more in the shade as it's closing in on 6:30 here in Lexington. Hoffman, a rollout to his right, goes short to the tight end Jennings, and Charlie Fleming stops him right where he caught it.
Now, it wasn't a great ball there from Hoffman, but able to corral it, but not really anywhere to go on that one.
So Jameer Jennings keeps his streak alive. He's now caught up 1 pass in every game this season for Averett as the sophomore tight end. And to the day with 3 catches for 53 yards. That's his first catch of the evening as he's able to bring up 3rd and 2 for his team at their own 39. Hoffman will go under center here for the Cougars. Leach stops right at the line. Jersey Allentini getting through for Washington and Lee.
Yeah, Allentini in that front line, they looked like they were prepared for a run, kind of gearing up, stacking the box up and trying to stop the run there. And perfect positions for them all and able to hold them to no gain on 3rd down.
We'll give them a gain of 1, but now 4th and 1 from the 40, and the Cougars will break out the tush push. See if they give him the extra yard based on where the line judge is coming in to spot it. Seems like he will be right at the 1st down marker. That just creates a big pile underneath, and after all is said and done, it will be enough to move the chains.
Yeah, it's hard to tell when they dog pile up like that where the ball is. From my angle, it didn't look like he picked it up, but it's so hard to tell, and he was just able to get the ball forward by about a few inches there just to pick up that 1st down.
Brock Hoffman comes running off, and on comes number 5, Jacob Lemon. So Jacob Lemon enters. He got about a snap or 2 in the first half at quarterback. He's in here now. Handoff goes to Leach, and he gets 4 yards.
Yeah, and last time they brought Lemon in, it was on that pitch play where he threw it just a little bit too far and fumbled it, but no miscues there for the Cougars as they're able to pick up a few yards.
Oh. All spotted at the 45. 2nd and 6 upcoming.
Some miscommunication.
Seems like the referee not on the same page here, and now everybody is good to go. So they'll wave it in with a 25-second play clock as Hoffman comes back in at quarterback for Averett. Got 3 receivers split out to the left with Testerman to his right. They'll go short on the wide receiver screen to Testerman, and Alan Hagler eats him up.
Hagler knew exactly what that play was going to be. Hoffman really likes finding Testerman, and looks like we got a general down in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that was O'Keefe McKinney is part of the defensive line for the Generals, who immediately went straight down, and that'll draw a stoppage here with 11:22 left. But Alan Hagler able to stop Testerman right at essentially right where he caught it, right back at the line of scrimmage. And although Testerman's hauled in 3 balls today, he's done it for a total of 9 yards.
Yeah, they've all been really short passes, which, again, the Generals have done a good job of keeping those receivers in front and not allowing the big play. And Testerman, again, there just unable to break that tackle from Hagler. Hagler knew exactly what was going on and able to lay that big hit.
So the training staff continuing to tend to a W&L player down. A 3rd and 7 upcoming here for the Cougars, who today have only been 2 of 7 on 3rd down, but have kept a couple of drives alive thanks to some 4th down conversions. But O'Keefe McKinney, Generals player down, sophomore defensive end from Lawrenceville, Georgia. It's been a big contributor for this Generals squad throughout his first season and a half, as he'll be helped back up to his feet and gingerly making his way to the home sideline.
Yeah, he's a big body that's able to fill up that defensive line for the Generals, and he's always very active, and hate to see anybody walk off the field, but potentially a big loss for the Generals.
So McKinney's helped off for Washington and Lee, and a looming 3rd and 7 for the Averett offense. Opening drive of the second half. The Cougars were shut out in the first 30 minutes. The last time Averett came to Lexington 2 years ago, they lost 31-0 to Washington and Lee. Trying to avoid that same fate here this year and looking to get something going on the opening drive of the second half. Hoffman, high snap, handoff is to Leach. And he's met right at midfield. Looks to be a yard short of the line to gain.
But given their mentality, they're definitely going to be going for it on this 4th down. So a nice pick up there to make this 4th down conversion much easier with only about a yard to go.
4th and 1 again, and a line up. And a tush push, a very bunched formation. So with Hoffman under center, they'll dive low, and that time got almost 2 full yards.
Yeah, tush push is such an effective play. Very difficult for the defense to stop it unless they throw all their bodies up on the line, and able to dive under, as you said, and pick up another 1st down. Cougars showing shades of their first drive in the first half, able to get the ball into the General side of the field.
It's just one of those things where the offense is always going to have the leverage at the line of scrimmage because they know when to go. And as the defender, unless you undercut them like perfectly timed, it is near impossible to really stack it up. Very effective on 4th and short. This time Hoffman going to the air, and Charlie Fleming inches away from having an interception.
Yeah, Testerman has been his favorite target today, and Fleming knew that and read that ball absolutely perfectly, just overran it a little bit, unable to haul that one in for the pick.
It's the second time today where we've seen a Washington Lee player have the ball in their hands for a potential interception and unable to seal the deal.
Still a great read, though, from Fleming to not allow that ball to be completed.
Very bunched trips to the right. Soto, the running back, he's going right. And after 2 yards is thrown back. Jersey Alentini, Will Mahmood, Brennan Stout, all there defensively. Guy's name we've called a lot today, Brennan Stout. First year making his first start for the Generals at linebacker. Now 8 tackles already to his name, coming off a 15-tackle performance against Trinity. Filling in for the injured Uno Christopher and doing well to hold down the middle for the Generals.
Yeah, it's a big loss not having Christopher out there, but not really felt so far with Stout. Definitely making a name for himself these past couple games for the Generals.
Play action. Hoffman with time to throw. He has to step up. He lost the ball, got it back, and just elects to slide down for a 1-yard loss.
A good effort there on all fronts from the Generals defense, able to get that early pressure, and then for some of those guys back in coverage to step up and not allow him to escape for a 1st down, because he did have some green grass. If he didn't fall there, he might have been able to pick up that 1st down.
4th and 9 for Averett from the Washington and Lee 47. And the Cougars They didn't think about this one, and then they are going to call a timeout. The play clock was at 6, and they did not have their quarterback out to the huddle, so they will use one of their 3 timeouts here with a very important 4th and 8. 8:12 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, these long 4th downs, especially because of this Generals defense being able to limit all these throws to around. The longest throw of the day actually for Averett is about 7 yards, so they would have to beat that record in order to pick up a first down today. Or here, rather.
And instead, after the timeout, they'll bring out the punter and Yakovlev. Yakovlev back out for the Cougars to punt. Just seemed like a tough time to burn a timeout if you're going to end up punting here on 4th and 9.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes back to hurt them later in this game, and especially getting into the 4th quarter.
Yakovlev, booming punt, end over end. Calling for a fair catch is actually, it takes a Generals bounce with backspin as it is touchdown at the 10. That one landed at about the 6-yard line and had some nice zip to it.
Yeah, good punt there from Yakovlev. Able to land that one inside the 10 and make the Generals start their drive backed up on the 10-yard line.
Washington leave 1st and 10 from their own 10 with 8 minutes left in the third. It's their first possession of the second half. So Averett puts together a drive that uses nearly 7 minutes of clock and eventually has to settle to punt.
Very reminiscent of their first drive. That one unable to pick up the 4th down, but took a lot of time off the clock and were not able to punch it in.
So Ty Collins in the W&L offense back to the field working with the 21-0 lead. A run option to the left. His pitch is to Marcus Payne. Payne can turn the corner. Payne across the 35, across the 40, and he's tackled down at the 47-yard line. A gain of 37 for Marcus Payne.
That's the second time this game where Payne's been able to break free off of that option to the left side, and what a great run from Payne there. Collins, again, baiting some of those defenders in and allowing Payne to break the corner and rush for a big gain to negate anything that punt did for the Cougars.
So the Generals get back a lot of field position with one play on the 37-yard run from Marcus Payne. August play from scrimmage today for either side. And it seems like, once again, perhaps potential issue with the play clock. So again, for today's game, the play clock upstairs on the bigger scoreboard stopped working. So they rolled out the temporary play clocks, and there's been a couple of instances where it has not run super smoothly, and so that time the referee intervened and said, we will handle a lot of the play clock left on the field to us. So the temporary ones are working, sort of.
Yeah, with these technical difficulties, you can expect a lot of that to happen.
Romero on first down. Across midfield to the Averett 47. 6 yards for Jacob Romero. The Generals just doing what they do best, run the football with the lead, averaging 7 yards per carry now, as they've crossed over 200 yards on the ground. Collins, with a lot of action, will keep it himself. Cuts back to the middle of the field and has 15 more yards for the Generals.
Yeah, it had been a while since Collins had taken one on his own off of those option plays, and you can see far side Cougar defender not really sure where to go, and Collins realized that he had the hole right away and took advantage of it. And a nice big gain on second down.
So 1st and 10 from the Washington and Lee 31. Or I should say for the Averett 31 for Washington and Lee. Under 6 minutes left here in the third. Collins to the air. Goes to Ian Evans on the outside. And Evans is upended at the 15-yard line. So a pickup of 15. And it moves the chains again.
Despite the limited throwing from Collins, he's been very efficient in doing so. Yet to have an incompletion, and despite it not being a huge part of their offense, to execute this well is always a given, is always a plus, rather.
The Generals pick up yet another first down. Michael Schoenberg gets the handoff, and Schoenberg 5 more yards on that carry. W&L just continuing to push the ball down the field, having their will up front against this Averett defensive front. Another handoff for Schoenberg. He's pushed inside the 5. Extra push from the offensive line gets him all the way down to the 3, which will bring up 1st and goal.
Yeah, great push from his teammates there on his back, able to push him forward to that first down, and the Generals are once again knocking on the door.
And who's out there at running back for the Generals other than Anthony Crawford? Already 3 rushing touchdowns on the day, and this one inside the 5-yard line yet again. Crawford to the left of Collins. The give is to Wilson Axley, and Axley is in for 6.
Yeah, just like you were saying, everybody probably thinking Crawford going to get that one. Such a strong and powerful runner. But they go with a little trickery there, a little jet sweep to Wilson Axley, and he's able to punch it in.
Axley, who comes in motion, able to turn the corner. And Wilson Axley has his first collegiate touchdown. First year from Dallas. Getting his hands on that one. His second carry of the day ends in the Generals' 4th rushing score. And Michael Fernandez on for the point after, pokes it through. So 28-0 in favor of the Generals with 4:11 to play here in the third.
And the Generals, just as we said at halftime, going to look to try to duplicate all that success they saw in the first half, and that drive really indicating that they're not going to have, or at least haven't had too much issues doing that in this second half. A very methodical and strong first drive for the second half for the Generals.
4th rushing touchdown of the day for Washington and Lee. They're now up to 35 rushes for 252 yards. And closing in on 300 yards of total offense. Now the Cougars, on the other hand, still under 100 yards of total offense. Marcus Gafford stepping this one off to boot it away. Well, Jackson and Andrews back deep for the Cougars. Gafford. His kick met by Jackson just inside the 10. He'll try and bust it outside, and he's got nowhere to go. And he's pushed into the W&L sideline. A little bit of pushing and shoving after the play, but no flags fly from either side.
Yeah, sometimes players like to get in a push or shove that the referees may not be able to see. A couple of those probably on the sideline, but ends up being a clean play. And it looks like Keith McKinney's back out there again for the Generals, so it looks like he's all right.
Yep, McKinney back in the game after going to be helped off to the Generals sideline. At Averett, 1st and 10, on their own 26. And a 4-yard rush that time by the Cougars. And number 30, Santana Wooden. Wooden, the sophomore from Miami, getting his first carry of the day. As now the Cougars will try and go a little bit more up-tempo. Put in another carry on a sweep to the left. He gets across the 40, and he is pushed out just shy of the 45.
Yeah, great blocking on the edge there for the Cougars, and the General is not really expecting that run to go out that side, and a nice strong run and a good couple of first plays for the Averett Cougars on the start of this drive.
So the Cougars going a little bit up-tempo, and now we'll bring in a different quarterback. That'll be number 13, Louis DeLulio. Say that 10 times fast, Shane. But DeLulio is in for his first snaps for the Cougars. 1st and 10 from their own 44. Looking deep, going down the far side, and nearly hauled in with one hand. That was Testerman making it down the far sideline. Gabe Joyner on the coverage, and Testerman nearly caught that with just the left hand.
Yeah, great throw there from DeLulio, and Testerman able to get his hands on it, just unable to control it to the ground, but that's the best chance that they've had at a deep ball all day, and just barely unable to hold on to it.
So DeLulio will stay in there. And a timeout called. Perhaps this will be an official timeout, and that's what it at least appears to be. Line judge just wasn't on the same page that time, so he blew it dead and came in to talk to the head referee. And now they will make the clock wind. And this time there is a flag. And it's a false start against the Cougars.
Referee there a little discombobulated, calling a false start on the defense, which you don't see that too often, but able to correct his call and point the right way.
So 2nd and 15 now from the 39-yard line for Averett. So DeJulio gonna stay in here for Averett. Quick pass to the outside for Goffigan, and smothering him is Connor O'Malley.
Yeah, just more of the same there for the Generals. Just these short passes, they're not allowing them to break contain, and able to come up and make a very strong tackle, force a 3rd and long here.
So a 3rd and 15. Julio getting the call from the Averett sideline. Louis DeJulio, a junior from Charlotte, entering here with his team down 28-0. He's gotten mixed in on this series for the Cougars at quarterback. Did not have their usual starter, Ethan Ross, today. Brock Hoffman got the start. He's the 3rd different guy to take a snap under center for the Cougars. Looking to get a receiver on the same page, but he overthrows Nick Andrews just in front of the Washington and Lee bench.
Yeah, DeJulio, he sort of directing traffic there, telling Andrews to move upfield, and he had him open. Just the throw on the run there, a little inaccurate and over his head.
So the punting unit will take back to the field. Joseph Pizzo back deep to receive for Washington and Lee. Yakovlev has had a couple of punts thus far. Pinned the Generals back at their own 10-yard line earlier, and this one's nearly blocked. He's run into, so a flag flies. Pizzo retreating will catch it inside his own 15. That perhaps might be, we'll see if it's a personal foul or it's just a running into the kicker.
Yakovlev on the far side seems to believe it's a roughing. We'll have to see.
So since that's an automatic first down, that'll keep the Averett offense on the field with 1:23 left here in the third.
That's a little careless there from those rushers for W&L. Just you can't get to the ball, try to pull back and don't hit the kicker, but unable to do that there.
So this will be spotted at the Washington Lee 45. And the Cougars try to take advantage of the penalty that keeps this drive alive. Still looking for their first points on the evening. DiUlio fires one at the feet of his receiver. That was Watlington, who almost ran right into a freight train coming the other way.
Yeah, not really an accurate ball there, and not really a great decision. It was a pretty tight ball to try to fit in there and just unable to do so.
Sean Watlington, the leading receiver for this Averett team. Just one catch today for 3 yards. In their 2 wins this year, he has at least 80 yards receiving and a touchdown in those games. He's been someone who has been a really good offensive weapon for them the last handful of years. Testerman with an ankle tackle from Jack Johnson only gives up a gain of 1.
Yeah, Johnson there holding on for dear life and not letting him escape. Able to pull Testerman down, and he has been the most popular receiver today for Averett, but it does not mean he really has many yards. That'll be his 10th yard of receiving, I believe, on only 4 catches.
Just only 22 combined yards through the air for this Cougars squad. 3rd and 9 from the 44 for Averett offensively. DiUlio under center, fakes the handoff, rolls out right, evades the pressure of Nottebohm, on the run, finds Testerman past the sticks for a first down.
Yeah, great throw there on the run. He had one earlier that he missed, but able to find Testerman there and get a pretty big first down for him as Averett now moves inside the Washington Lee 35, starting to put together a nice drive here.
Fritz Nottebohm just about a hand away from getting to the quarterback that time. He's a little frustrated with himself as he comes off for Washington Lee. Got through, he read the play action perfectly, just couldn't get there with the trip up the quarterback. That'll end the third quarter. So Washington Lee tacks on another rushing touchdown. They lead by 28 as we get ready for the fourth here on Parents and Family Weekend on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Back for the fourth quarter here at Wilson Field, a 28-0 lead for Washington Lee. The Averett Cougars are driving. 1st and 10 from the Washington Lee 34. Still looking for their first points of the evening. Generals have limited Averett to 107 yards of offense through 3 quarters. As again, not much room to run. The Odak's leading rusher, Gabby Soto. Soto now 10 carries, but only 22 yards on the ground. Our guy entered the day averaging over 5.5 yards per carry.
The Generals have done a really good job of keeping contain on him and really focusing Soto, not allowing him to break any big tackles, and his longest run of the day, only about 7 yards. So really good job from that Generals front.
Averett is sticking with Louis DiIulio and at quarterback. That's a tongue twister in its own right. They'll throw out looking for Testerman, and he dropped it close to the boundary. DiIulio entered earlier in this drive for Brock Hoffman, who drew the start. It seems like at least the way that the play calling has gone since he's entered, they've been more opting to throw the ball. Already 7 attempts for DiIulio through the air, as opposed to 11 for Hoffman over almost 3 full quarters.
Yeah, DiIulio looks a little bit more accurate than Hoffman did, so I can see where Averett's coming from with that, but still only 3 of 7 so far completing the ball. Only 12 yards.
They'll drop back to throw on 3rd and 10, looking for the deep ball. Nobody there. The closest target was Charlie Fleming, the W&L safety, as Testerman cut inside. The throw was to the outside. And now 4th and 10 from the 35. And it seems like the offense will stay on the field.
Yeah, there's some miscommunication there with DiIulio and Testerman, not really on the same page about where that route was supposed to go, and another one that almost ended up in a pick.
For where you are on the field at the 34-yard line, you'd be looking at a 52-yard field goal try or a very short punt. Down 4 scores, you're in the 4th quarter. You just have to go for it at this point. Empty set. DiIulio gonna fire one up as he took a hit as he threw. And that one sails out of play. Randolph Smith getting through defensively. And a hit on the quarterback, and Washington Lee takes over on downs.
Yeah, especially on 4th downs. You hope that you can get a ball that's at least catchable, but pressure there from the Generals hitting him as he threw the ball, just unable to keep that one in bounds. And Cougars unable to convert on 4th down again inside the Generals' territory.
Washington Lee takes over. 13:57 left. 4-score lead. 1st and 10 from their own 34. Anthony Crawford to the right of Ty Collins out of the shotgun. He goes to Crawford. And Crawford gets a yard, maybe 2 on 1st down.
The fans getting a little upset, thinking the defense had 12 men on the field. Officials disagree. They'll set up a 2nd and 8.
Washington Lee, and really no threat to really go quickly either, knowing what the lead they have and their ability to run the ball. Crawford showing a little bit of that burst. It's 6 more yards, and we'll have a 3rd and short.
Yeah, it seems that the Generals either get a short run on 1st down and then a nice one on 2nd, or a short run on 2nd down and then a nice run on like a 3rd down kind of play, but this Cougars defense is just unable to consistently stop the run. They get a nice stop on one play and then just unable to do it on the next.
Collins trying to turn the corner. Gets to midfield, and he's dragged down there. And on that tackle again was Trey Maxwell. He was one of the guys that was slow to get up early in the 1st half, and he's even a little slow to get back to his feet here. So was able to return to this contest, and the referee will blow it dead for Maxwell to make it to the sideline. So both teams will try and use this as almost a full timeout. The ref's going to ask them to get back out onto the field as quickly as they can. They're going to start winding that clock. 12.5 minutes left. Ian Gallimore in at quarterback now for the Generals. And off for Schoenberg. And a 3-yard run on first down for the sophomore Michael Schoenberg. For Washington and Lee, over 270 yards on the ground thus far, still averaging over 7 yards per carry. But no player has more than 73 yards. That's Jacob Romero, 10 carries for 73, 3 carries for 65 yards for Marcus Payne, 9 for 57 and 3 scores for Anthony Crawford. Now Schoenberg with a hole, and he is upended by the safety and hardened, and Schoenberg had eyes for more than just a 10-yard gain.
You know, Schoenberg's really first chance to show some of that explosiveness that we know that he has. Able to get a couple more touches here now that this game is winding down and the Generals are starting to try to substitute in a lot of their backup players, and a good run there by Schoenberg.
The Generals move the chains again, keep the clock winding. Crawford to the left of Gallimore. Crawford through the middle. And Anthony Crawford in for his 4th rushing touchdown of the day.
It's just a great, excellent push up front, really, from that Generals offensive line. And then Crawford, the rest of the way, saw the hole and did the rest of the work. A great run, able to score his 4th touchdown on the day and add another one to this Generals lead.
So Anthony Crawford continues his great day. That's 10 carries, 92 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns for number 42 for the blue and white. Michael Fernandez's extra point is knocked through, and it's 35-0 Washington and Lee. A 35-yard touchdown run from Anthony Crawford caps off the 6-play, 66-yard drive for the Generals with their 5th rushing touchdown of the day, 4th for Anthony Crawford.
Yeah, we were talking about how the Generals look to run that clock down a little bit, but can't really do that when you get a long rushing touchdown like that. But they'll definitely take that over having to run more offensive plays, and Generals just continue to demonstrate that their run game is that good.
Marcus Gafford ready for the kickoff here for Washington and Lee. Returns have not been the best for the Cougars here this evening. The Generals have stretched it to a 35-0 lead. Gafford will go with more of a squib kick. This one gets by the return man. Has to pick it up at the 2-yard line. And since he had a knee on the ground when he picked it up, that is down by contact in College, and Averett will start at their own 2-yard line.
Yeah, so the squib kick there ended up working out for the Generals. Not really expecting that back there. And Gafford able to get a very good kickoff that starts this Cougars offense very backed up.
So they'll start at their own 2-yard line, and the miscues on special teams continue to mount for the Cougars. There was one earlier in which the returner had to go through his hands, and then he took a while to kneel it down the end zone with a couple of defenders bearing him down. This time the Cougars will come out again with the tush push. The Generals will stack the box, and there was some movement. And if it was a false start, that's going to push Averett back another yard.
Averett coming out and setting up in a very conservative tush push call, just not trying to take a safety. The Generals' pressure on the quarterback on these passes hasn't been super potent, but it's been there, so you can kind of understand the call, not trying to give up any more points.
So the officials still talking. W&L had really jammed up their front 7 close to the line to try and negate the leverage that the Cougars had. And instead, it'll be offsides against Washington and Lee as opposed to a false start. So that'll give the Cougars actually 5 more yards of breathing room off their own goal line out to the 7.
Yeah, and those defensive players, when the ball gets set up like that, you got to think that they're almost foaming at the mouth to try to get a a safety there, and someone set up just a little bit too far ahead.
1st and 5 from the 7. And a quick hitter out of bounds for Tavion Gothigan. Enough to move the chains. So 1st down for the Cougars at their own 12-yard line. So they're successfully moving off the goal line. Pick up a 1st down to give a little bit more room. And this one broken up by the hands of Gabe Joyner.
Yeah, great defensive play there from Joyner. Would have been complete, but comes out, lunges, and makes a good play. Slaps the ball out of the hands there and forces 2nd down.
DeYulio still in the game here for the Cougars. The handoff. Making a couple of guys miss, and being dragged down is Wooten.
Yeah, great cutback there from Wooten, making, as you said, a couple of those Generals defenders miss and forcing picking up a 1st down, it seems.
It'll be a few yards short of the 1st down. So it'll be 3rd and short for the Cougars. Wooten will now try the left side, and again gets past a couple of players. Perhaps a hold on the outside against Isom, as Alantini was trying to get through around the edge for the Generals.
And Alantini very adamant about that call. Getting a little chippy with a couple of the Averett players as well.
So a holding call against the Cougars. I'll back them up for 3rd and long. It seemed like there was an official timeout. The Generals getting their whole defense a quick huddle on the field anyways.
And the longest pass of the day for Averett is only 10 yards. It's just 3rd down.
So there was a timeout called after the penalty, so that makes a little bit more sense. This is why the defense is all huddled up on the field. But Washington Lee in full control here at Wilson Field, 35-0 over Averett. Generals have scored 5 times on the ground. 4 of those courtesy of Anthony Crawford. While Averett has only been able to average just about 4 yards, a little bit under 3 yards per play. So it has not been a good day for the Cougar offense.
This proves that they're probably really missing Ethan Ross back there at quarterback. Just a couple of these guys that have come in just not really able to live up to what they needed out of them so far.
9.5 minutes left here in the 4th. DeYulio. Quick dump off to Jennings. Jennings ahead and out to the 30-yard line. Jameer Jennings moving the chains.
Yeah, that was a first real play in the backfield that's gone well. First real pass play, rather, in the backfield that's gone well for them. The Generals have done a good job of coming up and making those tackles, but Jennings making a lot of defenders miss there, and a good, strong effort to pick up a 1st down for the Averett offense.
So the Cougars trying to find something here in the 4th quarter. Got to go on the road again next week in conference play at Bridgewater before they host Randolph-Macon in 2 weeks. So just trying to build some positive momentum on offense, trailing by 35 here against the Generals. For Washington and Lee, it will be another home game next week, or Hall of Fame weekend here at W&L. The W&L Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony will be on Friday night, and then the Hall of Fame game Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock kickoff against Hampton-Sydney right here at Wilson Field.
That one shapes up to be a very entertaining contest.
Still 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter of tonight's game. Julio for Goffigan. And that's a gain of 18 for Averett. Their longest plays from scrimmage thus far.
These last couple plays, the passing game has finally started to open up a little bit. A check down to Jennings on that last one, and then a nice completion there, the longest of the day. And finally starting to get a little bit going through that passing game are the Cougars now.
Julio dropping back again, going down the near side, and over the top to break it up is the play of Alan Gashu. So the safety gets his hand in there as Alan Gashu helps to break it up. Sophomore from Maryland. The pass breakup, the intended target yet again being Goffigan.
Interesting decision there from DeJulio into double coverage. And as we can see there, a great play made by the General secondary. Even if he didn't get his hand up, I'm not sure that Goffigan would have been able to come down with that one.
Here's a handoff for Easley, and he is hit for a 3-yard loss.
Great pursuit from the Generals on that play, and able to just push that line back and come up with a nice play on second down to force another 3rd and long, something that the Cougars have faced a lot of today, and especially on this drive.
That was Israel Rivers for Washington and Lee, getting through for the tackle for loss. 3rd and 13 for the Cougars from their own 45. With 6.5 minutes left here in the fourth. They'll go 3 wide to the near side. Julio will come quick for Testerman, and that play is blown up. J.D. Matson helping to break it up.
Yeah, it's probably best that he did drop that ball there. Would have pushed them back even further for this punt. But just a great job by the Generals, giving up a couple first downs, letting them come out, from starting the drive on their own too, but able to hold them at the midfield, and another stop for the Generals defense looking to maintain this shutout.
So Averett will bring out the punting unit. Joseph Pizzo back to return for the Generals. This one, a real nice punt as Pizzo called for the fair catch at the 18. Didn't realize how much time he would have had to try and return that. A little bit of premature on the fair catch call.
Yeah, he looked a little frustrated with himself after that one, kind of slapping the helmet like, that's not what I should have done. But at this point in the game, it's not a huge deal for the Generals, as they're going to look to try to take more of this clock off on offense.
We'll have 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line with 6:12 remaining here in the fourth. And Gallimore had gotten snaps on that last drive. And so there was a unnecessary roughness penalty against Washington and Lee, and hard to tell on who or for really what, but that is the call.
Yeah, well, I didn't really see anything going on during that play, but referees saw something that we didn't and made the call, backing the Generals up inside their own 10 now.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 9 instead for this Washington Lee offense. In Gallimore, quarterback in the game. Ty Collins went 5 for 5 through the air for 46 yards. Also had 8 carries for 39 yards. Gallimore getting his second full drive to himself. Has trouble with the snap, and W&L just falls on it. So they'll go for a 3-yard loss.
W&L's had a little bit of trouble on a lot of these snaps today. Really holding on to the ball. At least the 4th time that's happened on a snap.
Although it'll be a 3-yard loss, it does get the clock moving again. So Washington Lee will have 2nd and 13 from their own 6. Gallimore taking time off the clock and will hand it off. Here's Fidel Small. A flag behind the play, and then Small ripped down after he went out of bounds, and the flag will fly late for that as well. So perhaps a flag for offensive holding, but then the late hit out of bounds most likely neutralize any offensive potential penalty against Washington and Lee.
Yeah, very aggressive tackle out of bounds. Kind of ripped him by that horse collar and threw him down, and right in front of the official. He's going to call that. But as you said, might be offsetting here.
First call's holding against the offense, and the second is the flag back behind the line of scrimmage is a hold. Makes sense, it's in the backfield on the run, and then the next one is and the next one is a dead ball personal foul because it was a hit out of bounds after the player had run out, so then that will be walked off for 15 yards. So instead it'll bring up, should be 1st and 10.
A lot of confusion down there for the officials on whether or not it was a dead ball penalty. Probably what they were discussing, and whether or not the Generals or the penalty should be offsetting.
So instead it's 1st and 10 for Washington and Lee. Gallimore kept it for himself and is hit for a 2-yard loss. Had everybody out of sorts, including the chain gang on the far side. Was unsure on really they didn't need to be positioned, but under 5 minutes to play here in the 4th. As Washington Lee tries to salt away the rest of this one. The Generals have rushed again for over 310 yards. They have run now 50 plays for over 350 yards of offense. Outgaining the Cougars by over 200 yards. Gallimore will keep it. In Gallimore, past one tackle across the 40, and he's finally tripped up.
And Ian Gallimore there showcasing that electric speed that he has, able to burst through the gap, and a very strong run, able to move it up to the 41 or 42-yard line.
A 25-yard run for Ian Gallimore. The first-year quarterback got recruited to Washington and Lee as a running back, and then the Generals have pivoted to use him as their primary backup quarterback this year because they like his decisiveness when running the ball to run the option offense, and you saw it right there, what he's capable of. He'll hand off here, and fighting through a couple of tackles is Michael Schoenberg.
And for Gallimore, you can see those running back instincts that he has. The vision was on showcase on that last play. And, of course, as I said, at lightning quick speed, able to beat a couple Averett defenders.
2nd and 2 from midfield here for W&L. as they just continue to pound it on the ground.
The Generals up to 344 yards on the ground today, so great bounce back game for them in that department.
The give is to Joseph Pizzo on the sweep. And Pizzo gets 7 more yards and another Washington Lee first down.
Pizzo, the 10th ball carrier in this game already for the Generals. So just getting everybody involved today and everybody being productive, everybody doing their job, and nobody over 100 yards. But as I said, a total of 344 on the day.
So the Generals continue to let the time tick off the clock. They have a 35-0 lead, and at this point, they're trying to run out the clock, preserve the shutout, and keep as many people healthy as you can heading into next week, really for the rest of the season. And by week 4, a chance to play back this week as Schoenberg again charges ahead all the way to the 21. Gallimore got hit, knocked his helmet off, and that was an illegal shift on the Washington Lee offense. So back him up. So that'll bring in, since the helmet popped off of Gallimore, he has to exit. That'll bring in third-string quarterback Andrew Bland, who's also the number 2 wide receiver for the Generals. But Bland originally came to Washington Lee, recruited as a quarterback, and got more moved to wide receiver throughout his time here. Another left-handed option for the Generals. That'll break us to the 2-minute warning. So with 2 minutes left, we'll have perhaps our final timeout of the day. First and what will be about 15 for the Generals from the Averett 48-yard line after this 2-minute warning. And Shane, as the clock winds down on this one, that Washington Lee on the verge of getting back to 2-2. Averett going to drop their second straight game, and Washington Lee is going to start conference play 1-0 and have a big one on the calendar next Saturday against Hampton-Sydney.
Yeah, that Hampton-Sydney game is shaping up to be a good one, especially after this Generals performance today. I think some people might have been questioning what the Generals had after a couple of shaky games to start the year, but able to come back with a big win today and get their ODAC season started off right.
Hampton-Sydney defeated Guilford College earlier today with a 31-0 final to start ODAC play 1-0. Randolph-Macon rallied from behind to beat Shenandoah 22-21 to start conference play 1-0. And then Bridgewater beat Ferrum 41-15 the final. So the Eagles are also 1-0. And so Hampton-Sydney and Washington Lee will square off next week. Ferrum will travel to Shenandoah. Guilford will go to Randolph-Macon, and these Cougars of Averett will make the trip up to Bridgewater next Saturday. First and 15 for Washington Lee from the Averett 48. 2 minutes left. Just trying to wind out the clock. Schellenberg stays on his feet, absorbs a few hits, and gets 6 yards. Gallimore will check back in at quarterback. Bland does his job with his one snap. Hand it off and keep the line moving.
He gets to be a quarterback again. Despite him being a wide receiver on this team, gets to come back there and take another snap and help the Generals close out this one.
Washington and Lee over 400 yards of total offense. Now over 360 yards on the ground. The best rushing attacks in the country, putting up some of their usual numbers. This run goes for all of 2 yards for Carter Shallcross. Entered the final minute as each team will make a couple of subs. The Generals have to run just one more play, and then this one is all but over. Since joining the ODAC 2 years ago, Washington Lee is now going to improve to 3-0 against Averett And in their 2 home games here against the Cougars, they have not allowed a point. They shut them out 31-0 2 years ago, and on the edge of shutting them out here again today. Gallimore ripped down at the 35, and that's all but does this one. Washington and Lee comes off the bye week, opens up ODAC play with a 35-0 shutout over Averett, as the Generals get to 2-2 and start conference play 1-0.
Yeah, just a great all-around effort, as you can see on the scoreboard from the Generals. Offensively, the run game, very strong. 359 total yards on the ground, beating their typical average on the season and compared to last game, having a nice bounce-back effort. And defensively, going against the freshman quarterback to start the game in Hoffman, and then later DeYulio, not really allowing any big plays to be made and clamping up and doing exactly what they need to do to maintain a shutout and start ODAC play 1-0.
The Generals get 4 rushing touchdowns from Anthony Crawford, 1 more from Wilson Axley. The ground and pound attack works effectively. 50 carries, 364 yards, an average of 7.3 yards per carry for the Washington League rushing attack. They run 55 total plays on offense for 410 yards, while the Cougars run 57 plays for only 155 yards. So the defense continued their good performance like they had against Trinity, giving up just 16 points to one of the better teams in the nation in Texas a couple of weeks ago in the Heat. They followed that up coming off the bye week, giving up less than 200 yards of offense and pitching a shutout.
And that's all you can ask for from your defense, despite any offensive production, just to keep going out there, keep doing your job, keep laying those big hits and making the big plays. And they were able to do a lot of that today, keeping a lot of those throws in front of them. There's a couple of bigger throws that were able to make for Averett on that last drive that they had there, but nothing really too threatening. And the Generals able to get a shutout again against Averett at home.
So Washington and Lee improves to 2-2. Averett drops to 2-2 as the Generals start conference play with a 35-0 shutout over Averett. Washington and Lee next in action next week. Right back here at Wilson Field, they will play Hampton-Sydney as part of Hall of Fame weekend. A 1 o'clock kickoff right here at Wilson Field. We'll have the pregame coverage starting for you at 12:30 on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Averett will make the trip up 81 to play Bridgewater next Saturday at 2 o'clock kickoff up in Bridgewater between the Cougars and the Eagles. Our final tonight at Wilson Field, Washington and Lee comes off the bye, opens up conference play with a 35-0 shutout over Averett. For all of us here at the Washington and Lee Sports Network, my broadcast partner Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell, saying thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Washington and Lee with the shutout over Averett, 35-0 the final, as the Generals are 1-0 to start ODAC play.